Hey all, Grolo here. Two of our favorite games have a lot going on. Pax Day's first update is going to land before the end of the year, and it is shaping up to be bigger than anyone expected. Meanwhile, Star Citizen's big update containing the new Nick system and Levski and all that just went to Wave 1 on PTU, and we're starting to see the first streams of it. And IAE 2955 starts on November 20th. There's also been some interesting posts by the CIG devs on Spectrum over the past few days. Now, all that said, a few channel news items. I'm going to be streaming Star Citizen tomorrow evening. It's actually going to be my first live stream of Star Citizen, believe it or not. So I'd love if you would come and hang out for that. I'll be joining the org for an operation of some sorts. And speaking of the org, we're having an all hands this evening, tonight. So there's no better time to join the Discord and tune into that if you're on the fence about joining as a member or as a friend. No obligations, but we'd love to have you. Come check it out. Now, on top of the Star Citizen live streaming tomorrow, I'm also putting together some footage of Pax Day, and I'll be sharing that soon too. We have got a war on our hands in that game, so if you're interested in seeing what large-scale combat looks like in that game, keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming soon. And speaking of large-scale combat, we are always looking for more who are seeking to enlist. We could use all the might that we can muster. So again, join up on Discord using the links below if you're looking to fight. We'd love to have you. All right, we are going to get into topics for both games here. If you're here only for one or the other, I've got chapter markers, so you can just jump to the section that interests you using the play position bar below. First, I want to talk about Pax Day's Looming update. We knew that they were going to be adding control zones to the PvP zone, Lyoness. They informed us of that a while back, and we knew that would be coming before the end of the year. And that alone was going to be pretty significant. But then over the past few days, we've been getting an avalanche of other news. So let's take a look at that here. On the Pax Day website, if you click on news, you can find both of these updates. The first one I wanted to look at was the plot management changes. This is big. A lot of people were complaining that unless you paid a subscription, you couldn't have a plot, you couldn't build. Now, I refuted a lot of that in the earlier videos where I was suggesting, like, well, actually, if you join a clan, you could participate in building on clan plots and take advantage of all that. But this mainframe is going one step further, and they're making it so that you can have one plot with nothing but gameplay. So if you join the game, you do things to earn gold, you can turn that gold into grace. You know, you can buy so much grace per day. It's kind of up to you how much you buy. But now you can spend 400 grace per month to maintain one plot that you can build on, craft on, do all the things. So now, as a completely free player, you can engage in basically every aspect of the game. Now, again, keep in mind that, like, Pax Day is a subscription game first. There was people kind of debating with me and arguing with me in the last Pax Day. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that, but one of the videos I did where I was kind of defending Pax Day's position to go subscription-based, because I personally believe that subscription-based games are better for aligning developer interest and player interest. But a lot of people came in and you know, they were debating this in all sorts of ways. One that kind of surprised me was somebody calling a subscription pay to win. But they called out Pax Day's one of the things that Pax Day gives you with your subscription is a 50% bonus XP. Now, I can certainly understand the perception, but I think the better way to look at this is that the subscription is baseline. And playing without a subscription in a free-to-play model is more like trying the game out to see if you like it. Now, with this whole new grace system and being able to maintain a plot with grace and all that stuff, It's definitely going to be more feasible to play for an extended period of time without it. But I would still consider subscription-based gameplay like the base mode, and playing without it is more of a trial mode. So I almost wish that instead of giving a bonus XP with a subscription, they would just give you half XP without it. It's the same thing, right? But it's a mental thing. Anyway, again, to the person who was arguing that, say, if you consider subscription-based play the normal base mode, then you can't really look at that as pay to win in my mind. But this is big. Very cool. On top of this, whenever this update lands, they're also going to be giving everybody in the game 300 free grace so that they can easily try this out. You only have to go earn another 100, and you'll be able to pay for your plot. And then as soon as your plot has less than a month of time left, you can extend it by another month by paying another 400 grace. Now, for those who don't know how difficult 400 grace is to get, it's really not that difficult. You buy grace with gold, you earn gold in the game. One of the fastest ways to earn gold is to go into Lyoness and just farm harvesters. They spawn in packs of between 2 and 3 usually. Each harvester drops, 30-ish gold, give or take. So if you get a pack of 3, that's almost 100 gold right there. Some of the most efficient ways of obtaining grace is either with 140 gold or I think like 210 gold. I don't know if those numbers are quite right, but you spend that gold and you'll get, between 30 and 70 or whatever grace, and then you can pile it up. So with a few days of in-game effort, you'll be able to pay for a whole month of your plot, basically. So that's a good change. I think this is good. We'll see how it affects participation. On top of that, the other really huge announcement in this plot management update change was this line right here. We will finally be able to build in Lyoness. Now, we knew that the control zones were coming to Lyoness in this patch, but I don't know. I certainly didn't expect Lyoness building to be coming in this patch, so this is huge. Our clan has been working pretty hard on our Home Valley castle, so it'll be exciting to expand into Lyoness. I'm really looking forward to more details on how this is going to work, what the incentives are, etc., and we'll be covering that here as that unfolds. Now, on top of that, it sounds like they are also allowing you to go beyond 4 plot tokens with this update, and that's going to be, it looks like the first in-game purchase. So on top of your recurring subscription for maintaining plots, if you wanted to go beyond 4, it looks to me like you're now going to be able to just buy additional plot tokens at $5 a piece. So that's interesting. I don't think it's something that I will be engaging in. Again, we got a large clan with a lot of plot donations, so we have more plots than we know what to do with. But if you're a solo player and you want to build an empire, as grindy as that will be in this game, I suppose this might be interesting to you. And there's some other things in there like plot transfers. That'll be nice because anytime you lift a plot to replace it with somebody else's plot, you run the risk of somebody kind of sniping that, or maybe not being able to put the plot back down the same way or whatever. So being able to transfer a plot from one person to another will actually be a nice quality of life feature. So those are the big items on this plot change. Now the bigger, more exciting, well, I mean, this is pretty exciting, especially because of the Lyoness building. We don't know. I can't overstate enough how much that's going to impact the game, especially coming at the same time of Lyoness control zones. I predict that we will basically be living in Lyoness once this change happens. I'm sure we'll still have a lot of people in the Home Valley doing a bunch of stuff, but there will be some contingent of us just basically in Lyoness full-time, I would imagine. But there was another update that came out shortly after this, and they titled it Work in Progress, Upcoming Small Features. And it sounds like all of this is going to be landing along with that last update that we talked, verse 5, right? So this is just a real good batch of quality of life things. If you've been playing the game, you might know how difficult it is to kind of know where your party is whenever you're grouped up and you're out somewhere. I know if you're like me, I got to constantly be bringing up the map just to see, like, it's kind of difficult to maintain view on people in this game. The terrain, people can really blend up with the terrain, which is actually really cool from like a competitive terrain management viewpoint. You really have to have a keen eye to observe like enemies coming in from the distance, etc. You can really use the terrain to your advantage, but it's a disadvantage within your own party. So if your party goes up over just a small hill, you can lose sight of them very quickly and become disoriented. And if you're like me, you're constantly checking the map to see where your friends are and stuff. So they're adding party member markers to the compass. You know, if you played ESO or games like it, New World also had a compass at the top of the screen. Pax Dei has the same thing. That's how you can kind of know where you're going without consulting the map. So having party member markers up there is going to be huge. They're also adding gold round robin disbursement. In order to fairly distribute gold in our groups, we've been master looting everything and then divvying up the gold based on the total amount of gold that we have to everybody who was present. It's kind of a pain in the ass, though, whenever you have people coming and going from a group. You know, it can quickly get difficult. So them adding gold round robining as a base system in the game, very welcome. Now it sounds like people will just kind of evenly split the gold automatically. So that's fantastic. And then they're also committing to settings to fine-tune that later, but no ETA. I don't think we need one. I think the round robin's good enough for now. Some quality of life improvements to weapon cooldown. I even said this, like, because what'll happen? So first of all, if you don't know, whenever you swap weapons in Pax Dei, all your weapon abilities go on a 20-second cooldown. So it's kind of the penalty for running multi-class, right? Like if you're typically running sword and shield and you swap to a healing staff, you're not going to be able to cast any of the healing abilities from that staff for the first 20 seconds, and then you'll be good to go. But the annoying thing is like, if you're like me and you have all your different weapon combinations bound to keys, and you accidentally like sheath your weapon, and then you bring the same weapon back out, it's also on a 20-second cooldown. So they're changing it so that if you accidentally put your weapon away, you bring it back out, it does not go on cooldown, as long as it's the same weapon you had equipped before. So that'll be a very welcome. Also, if your weapon breaks and you swap to another weapon of the same kind, it will not be on cooldown. So there's a bunch of little edge cases that'll be smoothed over by that change. I welcome that. A huge win. The next one is slash commands for the in-game chat interface. Very much welcome that. It's annoying right now to try to switch between clan chat, zone chat, nearby chat. All that stuff is really annoying because the only way is to use your mouse and go in and click. So I'm looking forward to something like /P/G, whatever it is, to switch between those. Torches and lanterns coming back. That's cool, just for the ambiance. I don't know that I feel they're much needed, but whatever, we'll take them. I just hope that they also add the ability for me to use a torch as a weapon and set people on fire. That would be amazing. What else? Making some crafting components slightly faster to craft. Okay. Making some plants larger so that they're easier spotted. Strawberries, blueberries, cotton, that kind of thing. Cotton especially is really difficult for me to spot in the world, so I welcome this. Now I know a lot of people will say turn the foliage off. Sorry, I refuse. The world looks too good with the foliage turned on. It looks shitty with the foliage turned off. I'm keeping my foliage on, so if they're going to make that easier for people like me, I'll take it. Updating some loot tables. Hunter's Blessing yield bonus. We're going to get some more bonus like antlers, wool, that kind of stuff. That's going to be very welcome. Antlers have been quite the block, getting enough of them to do some of these high-end crafting in bulk, so we'll take it. New building pieces, decorations, signs, new signs especially. Anything we can do. I mean, we have so many boxes in this game. Anything to help make it more readily apparent which box to go to will be amazing. So I'm all about more signs. That might be updating to all mining and woodcutting yields. Okay, I missed that one the first time I read this. That'll be it'll be interesting to see what that. I can't really comment. I don't even know if that means it's going to be increased or decreased, but probably just balanced in some way. Combat balance passes for equipment, spells, NPC encounters. Again, hard to comment on that without more details, so we will definitely be tracking where that goes. And ability, we heard about this one before, the ability to repair equipment at multiple crafting benches. So right now, outside of our main castle, for example, we have every single crafting bench out there, because depending on which gear the equipment is crafted at, you have to go to the same bench to repair it. So whenever you come back from a long day doing battle, you got to hit every crafting bench and repair each item that crafting bench supports. So what they're going to be doing is making it so that you can repair any item at any bench. That'll be where it welcome. Hit one bench, boom, repair everything. That'll be a nice little quality of life feature. But yeah, it's surprising that all of this is part of the upcoming content updates to be in-game before the end of the year. And this list isn't even exhaustive, so yeah, I can't state enough. This first patch that's coming up, we're on November 7th, so this is less than 2 months away. We don't know exactly when this is going to land, but we know it's less than 2 months. We would expect it's not going to be like the last week or two of the year. We would imagine they want to be letting their people go on holidays, so I would expect this within the next 5 weeks. And having this much in the first content, I think, is going to be a pretty big boon to the game. You're talking all these quality of life improvements, building in Lyoness, and control zones in Lyoness, which is really going to heat Lyoness up right now. And one of the biggest barriers to getting a lot of action out there is scouting and finding your opponent, tracking them down. I would imagine that a lot of people are not seeing a terrible amount of conflict out there, although we are. We're seeing plenty of combat out there, all the combat we could want. But we spend a lot of time in sharing that. Now, I would expect with control zones, you're going to see a lot more action out there, regardless of your clan size. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that changes things. Okay, that's all the Pax stuff I wanted to cover for now. I would love to hear what you think about these updates, what you think about Pax in general. Is the grace change, being able to maintain a plot with grace, is that going to pull you in if you were on the sidelines before? Are you excited? Are you as excited about this patch as I am? Is there anything in these notes that really stand out to you as something that you're more excited about than anything else? Any of that, I would love to hear about it in the comments. We'll continue the conversation down there. Now, let's jump into Star Citizen. Okay, so Nyx is on PTU in Wave 1. We're not too far from opening up the second jump gate in the game, which is pretty exciting. I'd love to know if you've decided to move to Nyx, by the way. I'm running a poll on my posts page, so go vote. Let me know which system you're going to be calling home when 4.4 goes live. I am not playing in Wave 1, but if you are, I would love to hear how it's going for you. So leave me a comment. So far, I've seen it's fairly unoptimized, a little janky, a lot janky. This is all to be expected. Remember how janky Pyro was when we first put our eyes on that? So don't sweat it. I'd expect the devs to have this mostly sorted out by the time 4.4 goes live. I say mostly because there's going to be some lingering issues, no doubt. I mean, there's still areas in Stanton that I see big FPS drops in. Now, speaking of the devs, there were a few very interesting dev posts over the last few days, so let's take a look at them. The first one, this is a fun one. Somebody had posted a crafting question, asking about what they had seen whenever they demonstrated the crafting machines in last CitizenCon Direct. They had like a 2 SCU box receptacle or something, and it showed them putting like 1 SCU boxes in, and this person said, hey, if I have all of the materials required, but I have them in a 6 SCU box or a 32 SCU container or whatever, like how's that going to work? Am I going to have to split these things up? And the dev came in and said, for tech preview, the fabricator can input and output from your location inventory. So if you're within your hangar, for example, it's going to be pulling from the inventory that is linked to your freight elevators. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice quality of life thing. I honestly did not expect, but it kind of makes sense if you consider some of the other things they've been talking about when it comes to inventory and item management. One of the things, in conjunction with them showing us the demonstration of that new inventory ragdoll model, you know, the one everybody's been hyped about. Looking forward to that new player character inventory screen. But one of the things they mentioned there is they're also going to make it easier to manage things around you, so that whenever you're in the game, you pull up your character inventory. Not only are you going to be able to access what's in your backpack or on your character screen, but you're also going to be able to access nearby crates and boxes and easily move things between your inventory and a nearby crate or whatever, maybe your ship. So the fact that they're moving the same way with these crafting systems, accessing your local inventory, it kind of makes sense. Kind of goes hand in hand with one another. And we also knew, based on previous comments around base building and the way you were going to be connecting HABs, or, you know, those HAB units on the bases, kind of anticipated that they were going to be using that resource network that they have talked about, or not resource network, but the underground system that was going to be connecting like storage with hangars and all that other stuff. I forget what they call it, but they've talked about that before. So anyway, all of this makes a lot of sense. So it was just something I hadn't considered. So when I saw this comment, I thought that's cool. That'll be a nice quality of life thing, and I think people can appreciate. The other comment has more to do with the last Star Citizen video we did on this channel, which had to do with instancing. Somebody had asked about homesteading and land claims and how that was going to interface with instancing, sharding, all of that stuff. And the dev responded saying, within a region, for example, Europe, which we covered in the last video, we said we're definitely going to have multiple instances of the Star Citizen universe, one per region, right? So within a region, a copy of the land claim is going to be applied to all shards within that region. So if you join on a friend to a specific server in the EU region and you place down a land claim, that affects all the instances of the universe in that region, all the shards or whatever. So makes a lot of sense. Really no other way to do it, especially since we can move between regions so easily. They're definitely not going to force us into playing on a single region. And they go on further to say that assuming the owner has opened up their base to the public, then the public is going to be able to interact with the base in any shard or instance of the universe that they are on within that region. So that means that if you're running a store on your base, it doesn't matter what shard of the universe that the player is playing on, they're going to be able to interact with that store. Same thing with any other facilities on the base, right? So not surprising, makes a lot of sense. But then they go on to say when it comes to base raiding, you can only raid on one of the shards, and they're going to have logic in the game which dictates which shard that is. And they give the easiest example is if the owner of the plot or the owner of the land claim, sorry, I got Pax Dei on the brain. If the owner of the land claim is logged in, then that is going to be the shard that you can assault or do a base raid on. Now, to me, we've talked about this before on this channel, I think this just further gives credit to the layering approach being used in Star Citizen of the future. This is exactly how you would set things up if you planned on layering. So we were just talking about this again in my instancing video, layering as a pressure valve, instancing as a pressure valve, right? Like dynamic server meshing is only going to get us so far. Whenever you get down to the size of a base, Again, they may be able to get it to the point where you can divvy that up across a few servers, but the number of servers you're going to divvy that base up across is going to be limited. And so, again, depending on the size of the raid, you may reach a point where you have to draw a line and say, no more people are allowed in here. You're going to have to layer, people are going to have to wait their turn. So, yeah, anyway, they lay it out here that if you attempt to raid a base, you're not on the shard that the base is raidable on. It sounds like it's going to prompt you to transfer to the shard. Now, again, I don't think that CIG would be putting all this effort in just to get us through the alpha phase of this game. To me, I would have to believe that CIG is doing this work in preparation for the 1.0 version of this game. And if they're doing this work and they're putting this effort into solving how it works now in a very heavily sharded environment, it seems to me that this work is also going to benefit 1.0. And what this work would benefit is a layering system. So I would not be surprised if we see that as a pressure valve when 1.0 releases. I don't know. What do you think? Hit me in the comments if you think differently. But that's where my mind is at. It's going to be pretty hard to convince me otherwise. You'd have to come out with me with some pretty compelling evidence. Some other interesting things they just kind of casually mentioned in this was assuming the player has opened up their base to the public. Interesting. That's they're definitely hinting at some kind of various access levels and permissions that we can apply for access control to our bases. Not a surprise. We knew that was coming, but the fact that they're already kind of mentioning that, I'm interested in what levels of access control they're going to be launching with. Of course, they also mentioned player-run stores, use of the crafting, refining facilities at bases. I don't know. Reading this just gets me pumped up. I'm so ready for this. Like I said in the instancing video at the beginning, like kind of doing all this in PAX right now just has me so freaking hyped for this stuff coming to Star Citizen. I just can't wait. So anyway, would love to hear what you are thinking with respect to these comments, and especially the way they're going to be handling the shards. Oh, and one other thing, they said within a region. Right now, you can pretty freely hop between EU and US regions, for example. If I log into an EU region and go to my hangar, I see all the same stuff as if I log into the US region and go to my hangar and look at my stuff. There's really nothing, at this stage, there's nothing dissuading me from moving freely between the European regions and the US regions. As a matter of fact, we often, even though I play in the US, I will often go to the EU regions in the off time of that region to get better server performance. I don't know if that's so much required anymore. That used to be very required in older patches. Maybe the need for that has been diminished recently. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention, but if they are going to be applying land claims only within region, that portability is going to come to an end. You're definitely not going to want to hop between regions anymore if you're putting down land claims that only apply to the region you're in. You're going to have to be really cognizant of what region you're placing those in. So how do you feel about that? Are you somebody that hops between regions right now for various reasons, performance, friends, whatever it may be? We all knew that that was going to come to an end someday, so land claims may be the first thing to bring that to an end. So that's interesting. And finally, IAE 2955. What's your plans? Are you planning on doing any shopping? Maybe Maybe you're planning on jumping in to the game and trying it out for the first time, using or taking advantage of the free fly. Or maybe you're getting a friend to check it out for the first time. I'd love to hear what you're up to. Drop me a comment. And while you're there, dropping a comment on that, drop a comment on anything else in this video. I look forward to continuing the conversations that this video kicked off in the comments below. Until then, take care, and Grolo out.